Hi and welcome to the second part of the lesson called I Already Know It. In this video we will repeat the ideas from the previous lesson and also I will illustrate them with a concrete practical example. Quite often chess players tell me something like this. I've studied hundreds of chess books and I already know all the well-known tactical and strategic motifs. So why I'm still not a grandmaster or at least an international master? In the first part of this lesson, I have told you the answer. There are two levels of knowledge. The first level, when you just know something, you've heard about it or read about it. And the second level, when certain knowledge becomes a part of your personality, when you use it automatically, when it's integrated in your usual thinking process. In this case, you don't need to repeat this knowledge because you will never forget it. Only the second level of knowledge allows you to apply it to get practical results. However, it's quite difficult to get such profound level of chess understanding. Very often it only seems for a chess player that he already knows something, while he can't use it regularly in his own games. In fact, it means that such player doesn't know it at all. Let's analyze one concrete example. Here we will talk about planning. Okay, what are the plans of both sides here? It's quite standard situation and the plans are well known. Black will prepare and play f5. He will play g6, then will transfer the knight to the g7 through h5 or e8 square, and after that he will finally play f5 and will develop an attack on the king side. This is the black's plan. White is going to attack on the queen side and he will open the position there by playing b4. Now let's see what happened in the game. Black played knight h5. It's a logical move which prepares the realization of the black's plan. White answered rook e1. Actually, it wasn't necessary for white to play it, and of course it doesn't help white to realize his plan. Nevertheless, I can accept this move. White wants to prevent an eventual move knight f4. And now if black plays it really, white will answer bishop takes f4, e takes, and e5, getting an advantage in the center. However, knight f4 wasn't a real threat. As we already know, the knight is rather going to the g7 square. That's why I've said that rook e1 is probably not the best idea for white. Okay, let's go forward. Black played g6, a3. Everything is good here, both players are realizing their plans. Knight g7, bishop h6. Here I have a question to the white player. What was the idea of the move bishop h6? It certainly doesn't realize the white's plan, so it can be okay only if it prevents the black's plan. Let's see what happened then. f5 and rook b1. This move, rook b1, is definitely a mistake. If white decides to play against the black's plan, then white should do it really. Otherwise, bishop h6 was a mistake and a wasting of time. The white's moves show that white player wasn't sure what to do and he jumped from one plan to another. So what was the correct idea for white instead of rook b1? As I've mentioned before, white should continue playing against the black's plan. Therefore, white should attack the black's central pawns e5 and f5, so white can play e takes f5, and g takes, and then queen c2, taking the f5 pawn. Now the bishop h6 is really on the right place. It supports the white's attack on the f5 pawn, and here everything is logical. Of course, black can play e4 in this position, but it's not a big problem for white because white has a good positional sacrifice. Knight takes e4, pawn takes, and bishop takes e4. Now white has two pawns against a minor piece, and also white is attacking the h7 pawn. The only move which protects the h-zone pawn is knight f6. After that, white can simply retreat, bishop d3, and white saves a good compensation and a good chances for an attack. For example, on the next move, white can go knight g5, taking the h-zone square, and it's quite difficult for black to prevent this move somehow. This was the right plan for white. However, in the game, white played rook b1, and after king h8, he played queen c2. It's another strange move. Black is going to play f4 anyway, thus queen c2 only helps black to realize his plan. White should finally define what his plan is and start realizing. Therefore, white should play b4 instead of queen c2. And after that, white got a position with mutual chances. Okay, let's see what happened in the game. Black played f4 certainly, and h3. I dislike this move as well. Black is not attacking, so why should white defend? White can play h3 anytime if necessary. That's why it was still better for white to play b4 finally, and to do something to realize his own plan. Now black played rook g8, and the h6 bishop appears in a dangerous position. It has no way to retreat. Now white has to pay for his previous mistakes. I mean the move bishop h6, which white made previously. So white took, rook takes g7. This exchange is certainly in favor of black. After that, black is ready to play g5, g4, and to start a powerful attack. This forces white to switch over to defense. Bishop e2, to get better control over the g4 and h5 squares and to prevent the black's plan. h5, knight h2. White wants to prevent g5 move because now the h5 pawn is hanging, but white becomes totally passive. Knight f6, queen d1. White is still trying to prevent the g5 move, but now white becomes totally passive. It was necessary for white to play b4 finally, trying to get some counterplay. Okay, in the game there followed bishop d7, b4. White made this move after all, and I'd like to pay attention to the fact that white played a3 about 10 moves ago, and white spent 10 moves to finally play b4. Okay, c takes, and rook takes b4. Though the white's position is already bad, rook takes b4 is another mistake. After b6, the white's attack on the queen side is over. That's why it would be better for white to take a takes b4 on the previous move. Now the white's position is strategically losing. Black can develop an attack on the king side, while white has nothing to do. Okay, white played queen d3, queen c8. Black is preparing g5, g4, bishop d1, g5, bishop a4, g4. Everything is very simple for black here. Bishop takes, queen takes, king h1, and rook g8. Now all the black's pieces are taking the white's king side, and black won the game easily afterwards. If you would like to see this game until the end, you can look at the text version of this lesson. Okay, after an analysis of this game, I'd like you to think about this. What would white player answer if we ask him, "Do you know about the planning?" By the way, the white player is an experienced international master with a rating over 2400s. So what would he answer? He would certainly say, "Yes, of course I know about planning." At the same time, our analysis shows that almost all his moves were wrong. Therefore, we must honestly conclude that he doesn't understand a planning concept at all. And it's not because this player is so weak. The majority of players don't have good planning skills because it's a hard topic really. And this lesson is not my intention to criticize this man. I just wanted to show you why many players don't progress. It happens because they don't know about two levels of knowledge. And also it happens because of the phrase, I know it already. Such player is under this delusion and he doesn't understand what his problems are. Thus he will not be able to solve these problems and to improve himself. Okay, now let's recollect the main conclusions. Here is the first one. Don't assess yourself generally. Orient solely on the facts, your practical results. Then you will really evaluate your skills. Don't think that you already know something until you start using it automatically and start getting results from it regularly. The next one. Remember about two levels of knowledge. You should not only know something, read about it, but make it a part of your usual thinking process. In my courses, I give you the complete training system which will help you to really get the new skills. That's why it's so important to perform all the tasks seriously, even if you think that you already know something. Because we've been talking a lot about a negative influence of the phrase and idea, I already know it. Okay, these were the general conclusions regarding to your chess development. Also, we can make one specific conclusion about planning. You should use your plan as a guideline. Don't be deflected by some other ideas. If you follow this recommendation, you will play better and it will even be simpler for you. And if you want to know more about planning, you may study my chess course, Your Winning Plan. You can see the link here or in the text version of this lesson. This course will give you all that you need to know about planning. And of course it will give you a great progress, because planning skills are probably the most important aspect of a chess game. Thanks for your attention. Talk to you in the next lessons. I wish you all the best and goodbye.